Okay, y'all know the first thing that I do is use a powder to go over my eyebrows, so any oil that I have on my face, it doesn't slide off the pencil. I'm using my Studio Fix in the color NW40, and this is going to be a foundation powder. It's very heavy, the way I like it, and it is oil free, so you know, we're just matting that area. Okay, you know, the first thing I do is I always go up with my brows like this, and then I take the other end of my pencil, bring it out a little bit, and then I just start tracing my brows. And you gotta, you see those hairs that's growing in, you gotta ignore that. We're gonna use concealer to cover that up. Then we're just gonna color it in. And you notice I haven't done nothing to the front yet, because with the front I'm going to be using my brush and stroke it up slightly with my pencil. I'm going to be using my pencil and using the front hairs, stroking it up like that. And then I'm just going to go back in and color it in. I also take my Anastasia Beverly in the color Ebony, and I'm just going to dip it in here, and I'm just going to add towards the end of my brow, because sometimes what happens if you have long hair and you bring your hair down, the ends will come off. So this is brow gel, and it's just going to make sure that it stays. So we're just going to add it to the ends like that. Make sure nothing comes off so you see the difference. Then I'm going to go in with my MAC Cream Studio Fix Concealer, and I'm just going to use this middle color right here. And this is how I'm going to shape my brows and get rid of all the hairs that is growing. So we're going to go slow. And you're going to pat it down. Like that. Then we're going to take the darker colors, and we're going to do that one on top of the brow. Just like that. And when you're going up, it allows you to see the shape for really what it is. Next step we're going to do is we're going to use that same concealer, and we're going to put it all over our eyelid. This is going to create a base for our eyeshadow and make sure that our eyeshadow stay on all day and we don't get those lines throughout the day as well. And I like to do is just brush mine towards the nose, so you just don't see where it starts and where it begins. So I'm just brushing it out. A nice little eye that I want to try. I always like to do things that, you know, would help me challenge myself to the next level. So this is an eye that I've seen. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to be doing this eye. She has some rhinestones. She has a cut crease. It's pink. I haven't done a look like this. I've done something similar, so let's give it a try. First thing I'm going to do is create a transitional color, and it looks like she used a darker shade of like pink or like purplish kind of to create that transitional color. So I'm just going to go in with my Cool palette from MAC Cosmetic, and I'm going to be using this purple in the corner. It's not too deep, but it's just deep enough for what we need it for. So I'm just going to be using circular strokes, and I am just going to cross my transitional color. And like I always tell you guys, you want to make sure you leave this space underneath of your brows with the concealer showing, because that's what's really going to make your eyeshadow stand out. If you go too far up, it kind of looks clownish, and you also want to make sure you leave some space on the lid as well. Cut crease. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get a super flat brush, and you want to make it a little bit more flatter if it's not flat. And I like to use my duo glue, and what I'm going to be doing is putting it on top of my brush, and I'm just flattening it out to make it even more flat. Now I'm going to be using that lighter concealer, and I'm going to be using my cut crease. Now I usually do my cheek cut crease, but for this one I wanted to stand out a little bit more, so I'm just going to go in with my cream concealer first and create the crease, and then go back in with the color. You have to be very steady with this because you want your crease to stand out. You don't want it messy. So the first thing I do is just draw an outline of the line, and then I go back in making sure that it's extra neat. The notepad from the crayon case, and they have all sorts of pinks in here, so the picture looked like it was more like hot pink going on, so we're going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to start out with using this light pink first and then work my way up to the darker pink because that's what it looked like that was going on in that picture. So this is the light pink, and we're just going to lay that down first. Sometimes this can crease up, so you just want to make sure you go over it before you lay your color down too. You don't want no creases. We have our light pink going on. Now it's time for the hot pink. And you just want to pat it on because that's how you get the intensity out of the color. And you want to make sure you're being very careful with that cut crease line when you're patting it on as well. We'll do the same for the next eye. We're going to use that same purple that we use in our transitional color, mix with a little brown. And a blending brush, and we're just going to blend the two colors in together. And I'm just going over the crease, making it stand out with a smaller blending brush. Go up in my crease with a little bit of pink, mixed in with it. Some picture. Now I usually go with a wing, but this picture worry about getting one piece on like this and then just using the rest to adjust. That's stuck to my nail. So I got one piece on, and we're just gonna adjust the rest. So while my phone was being recharged, I went ahead and added the rhinestone. So I put some pink rhinestone in each eye. Let's get ready to finish this look. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to use is my Prep and Prime by MAC. It's Natural Radiance primer that I put in right before I put on my foundation. And you just kind of put it on like lotion. With this Clinique Even Better Clinical Foundation, it's everything, and a little goes a long way. Really, it really does. So, like I told you guys before, I like to do little dots all over my face and then blend in. So I put it everywhere except under the eyes, because we're going to use under the eyes for concealer, and you don't want to put concealer and foundation and setting powder and, you know, transparent powder. Like, you just kind of want to put the least amount of products as possible under that eye so it doesn't crease throughout the day, because underneath the eye is the thinnest part on our face, and it will start creasing if you put too much stuff. Now you see that little bit of foundation that I just put on my brush. You see already it's just getting majority of my face on. Look at that. And go back with that. Earlier I told you guys to put the concealer in between that, and just use your foundation and brush it out. Now I'm just going to use a teeny bit more, just a teeny bit, like that much more, because I like a full coverage. And that's what I like about this too. You get a full coverage in a little amount of product. You cannot beat that. This foundation is going to last me a while, because I don't really do my face often. Look like it's coming from the roots itself. Look at that, it's so smooth. So smooth. I am going to be using my Juvia's Place concealer, and I'm going to be using the number 10. One of my favorite concealers. Gets the job done, go on easy. So we're just going to put it here. On the nose. And the reason why we put it here is because sometimes you have a shadow right there, especially women of color. We usually have a shadow right there. And then I am going to be using a flat brush and blending that down. So you see how I brighten up underneath of my eyes. Like into the skin. Look at that. Beautiful. Clean. I'm going to use my Laura Mercier powder, and I'm just going to use that to set where I place the concealer at. And I'm just going to insert it in my eye like that. And this is going to help you from creasing, and it's just going to make this area stand out and nice and bright how you want it. And I'm putting it everywhere I applied that concealer. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my Studio Fix powder. It's an oil-free powder, and I'm going to put that every single place that the yellow powder isn't. So we're going to set the entire face with this. And what I love about this powder is that it collects up all the oil, and it's also a foundation powder, so it'll give you a little bit extra coverage if you need it or want it. Me personally, I just like full coverage. So it's just based on preference. You can use a lightweight powder if you want, but I just always love the finishing of Studio Fix powder. It's like no other powder. Studio Fix powder in the NW58 color, and I'm going to use that to create my contour. I like using powders to create contours just because it gives it a more realistic look, and you don't have to worry about it melting off later. Like with creams, it definitely will oil up your face later on, and I just don't like looking oily throughout the day. You know that makeup breaks down and it creates oil throughout the day, but when you just put in too much oil products on your face, you just give it even more reason for it. Like those girls that you see be using creams, more than likely half the time, those are like for photo shoots, so they're just going to be needing that for a couple of hours. But if I feel like you want to have your makeup staying on for a long time, use powder. It stays on longer. A lot of my clients keep their makeup on for 2-3 days. I can't believe they actually get it to stay on that long, but it stays on that long. And when you're putting it around your forehead, you want to bring it down to that centerpiece that you see right here. And then for your cheekbone, you want to bring it up towards your cheekbone like that. And this is your jawline. So when you're talking, that double chin is going to create a shadow for you. The same brush that we used for the powder, and we're going to use that to hold it down to create our liner. Nothing like a liner, it just shapes the eyes. I'm going to go back to my Cool palette from MAC, and I'm going to use that purple that we use in our transitional color, and I'm going to put that right underneath of my liner to blend it in and give it more of a like smoky effect. So it'll look like that, like more smoky out. So now I have that smoky eye underneath. Next, I'm going to use my Studio Fix powder in the color NW40, and I'm going to use that to brush off the Laura Mercier setting powder. So we're just going to brush this off, and we're going to leave behind that yellowness, but we're putting over top of this color, so it's not so yellow, it's just using it as an undertone. So basically everywhere we put it, that's where it's going. So we're just keeping this middle bright. I like a bright highlight. And then we're just gonna go back over with our color NW45, which is my actual skin tone color. And we're just gonna put that everywhere the NW40 isn't. And I kind of like to go over the NW40 with the NW45 just a tad bit. Not too crazy, just to blend it out really nice. As you can see, everything is just like coming together. And going with our contour. 4 again. And as far as the nose, I like to just create a shadow on the sides. I don't like a really pointy nose. Just give me a shadow and we get it. I like my nose to look real realistic. And I use the NW45 to blend the contour and the powder here together. As you can see, it's coming together really nice. So far, we're here. Now it's time for blush. So I'm going to be using that same color that I used earlier from the crayon case to create my blush. And I'm just going to go up on the contour line. La la, like that. That's a good old highlight. So I'm going back to old school, the Starlight Illuminator by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Put it on my lips so that when I do my liner, then you go back in with that NW45 residue and just blend it on out, baby. Just blending it on out. Now, before I wrap things up, I always go back over my brows because, you know, we do a lot of moving when we doing these faces. So I just kind of go back over the brows, make sure they still standing neat. Like some of my front came off here, so I'm just fixing it up. Every time I do like a pink look, I always go for like a purple and pink ombre. But we're just gonna follow this routine in this picture, and she went with like a brown liner and a nude lip. So let's keep that going. So first, we're gonna outline our lip. We're gonna put it on heavy because we're gonna do an ombre lip. Don't forget that in right there. Don't just go straight across. Make sure you're paying attention to that. And then once I got it on, kind of just blot that together. Then we're gonna go ahead and use a nude lipstick. Let's use Snob, a classic. I used to be so scared of Snob. Because it gets rid of all the powder residue. And then we're going to be using my matte fix to finish.